Okay, I think it's time to start. Hello, everyone, once again. My name is Lev. Today, my colleague Maria will help me to deliver you the presentation about the recent release of software video conferencing server for legacy endpoints, which is called TrueConf MCU. MCU stands for Multi-Point Control Unit, which is a pretty old name for the media servers who render group multi-point conferences for SIP and H.323 endpoints for so-called legacy endpoints, which you can find in your conferencing rooms. So we have prepared the slide deck. I hope you can see the slides. The recording of the session will be available after the webinar. And I think it's right time to start. Maria, please go.
Let's start our webinar. We are happy to welcome you here today. And this new version of our TrueConf MCU features two new video conferencing modes. And we would like to start with the first one. The first video conferencing mode that we introduced is called speaker mode or presentation. And it presupposes the use of a voice activity detection mechanism that we optimized. And now the active speaker, the actively speaking participant, is displayed as a main big window on your screen. And we prepared the demonstration.
Yeah, we have a demo, but before we proceed to demo, I'd like to remind you that TrueConf MCU is a software solution which is available strictly for Linux operating systems, for example, for Debian. And we recommend you to install it on virtualized or dedicated environments, depending on your requirements. But most importantly, that means that this solution is a software product. We have a distribution. You can install it, you can update it, you can receive updates from our repository for your operating system. So it is not like an image. It is not like a hardware solution. So it's like a regular software. It is very easy to install, very easy to maintain, and the interface, you will see this from the demos, is best in class, one of the best solutions for multiple conferences management for legacy equipment. We really love this product, and because of that, we have a free version for TrueConf MCU, which is free, as I remember, for 100 connections. Maria, please correct me if I'm wrong.
That's right.
That's crazy number. And of course, the free version has some differences from the full version. That means we will display the small label on the edge of every rendered layout that you are using the TrueConf MCU product. And that's it. There are not many other limitations and differences between the free and the paid version. So if you have a big number of legacy endpoints in your rooms, we're talking about Sony, Avaya, Redvision, Picturetel, Thunberg, Cisco, Polycom, and many others endpoints which are based on legacy protocols like SIP, SIP, and H.323, where welcomes you to give a try to this solution, so you will be able, free of charge, to connect together all those endpoints from all your different locations, from all your conferencing rooms together, and finally have multi-point capabilities and large conferences without the need to use expensive cloud subscriptions and without the need to purchase or continue to purchase support for MCUs you most probably you already have, like RMX or Cordian or Cisco Meeting Server, but they usually have limits for a number of connections, and we can really help you to extend those limits, cascade one solution into other, or just use our solution, which is very capable of it. And believe me, this is one of the best MCUs available on the market. We continue to invest into this product. We continue to develop. And we spent almost 9 months preparing this update because of so many customers globally are still waiting for updates for this solution. There are a lot of companies who still run legacy infrastructure, legacy endpoints, and they're looking for the new features and new updates for those endpoints, beside the fact they're using old protocols, but they still in use, and we can actually create something new. We can make better use of the existing equipment without the need to replace them for Teams rooms or Zoom rooms or some other PC-based solutions. We can help customers to still use the equipment they purchased previously to maximize the effectiveness of the investments they did before with the help of this solution, which has a free version, as you now know. So that was a short introduction for the TrueConf MCU. Let's proceed with demos. So I will stop the slide deck and I will share my screen. So here we have TrueConf MCU dashboard. I will give you a short explanation what we have here. We have four main sections of the menu. So we have some settings. We will cover them later. Some updated parts of this settings panel. We have history, so where we can see some brief information about the recent activity on the MCU. We have address book, which can be populated with using different endpoints, different sources. It could be video streams, it could be software, SVC-based endpoints, like from TrueConf server. It could be legacy video conferencing endpoints using SIP and H.323 connected using those protocols. So you can basically create many different contacts manually or automatically here using Active Directory integrations, for example. And most importantly, we have the main section, which is conferences, which help us to manage, not just manage, to create, manage, and reuse the conferences. And most importantly, we can manage many conferences simultaneously. So, for example, I can start this particular demo, and at the same time, I can start another conference. We can switch between one and second conference, and we can manage different participants between those conferences. Actually, we can move people around between those conferences. You see how many different details we have, so many settings. So this is actually amazing conferencing panel, the best in the world for legacy conference management. So we have everything here: devices, statistics, statuses, termination, reasons, and many other advanced features which helps operators to seamlessly and effectively manage large conferences with important participants, with VIP people next to the very expensive endpoints purchased inside the conferencing rooms. So for this demo, I will shut down the second conference. I don't need it at the moment, so I will stop it. But let's have a look on the first conference. So what we did, we continued to introduce more support for new scenarios, and we added support for the new conferencing mode, which is called presentation. So the idea behind presentation is very simple. This way we can save resources of our server, because MCU is basically a transcoding server. So we have to mix videos from different endpoints and output that mixed video with different bit rates back to every endpoints without the self view. So this is how MCU performs actually. And one of the strategies to save the resources of the MCU is to use the voice activity detection when we can see inside the layout people who is speaking at the moment or used to speak before that, before the current speaker, not to display everybody, not to render many different layouts for every participant. We can render a kind of a common layout for some set of participants. But with presentation mode, we can ultimately render a single layout for everybody. So only one participant who is speaking at the moment will be visible to other participants. So this is the ultimate way to save your resources because no other participants, no other people will be visible in layout, only the one who is speaking at the moment. And the system automatically will change the speaker in real time and output to other participants without transcoding. So that's why this mode is so efficient. We don't need to mix many videos into a single video. We just resend and output with different bitrate the video from active participant to other participants, and this way we can have many conferences going simultaneously. Of course, it is not so effective as TrueConf server, as other SVC-based or switching-based conferencing solutions. However, for MCU implementations, this is very effective. So let's have a look. I have 4 participants in this conference, and if I open the preview of what we have in the layout for this participant, we will see that we have only one participant at the moment. Right now, my colleague Alina is speaking, and that's why she is visible in the layout, and we don't see other participants because they're silent. If someone else will start to speak, we will see that new speaker will be visible to all other participants. So that's help us to save resources. But any moment, and this is our feature, we can change the conference mode in real time on the go. So I'm changing to the regular general mode. Let's change mode, and this way all participants will be visible in layout. Hello, Alina. Now I can see you. So that's the point. So in this way, when we have this general mode, we use more resources from the CPU of our server, which is used to run MCU solution. You can see a lot of statistic information here. We continue to improve the UI experience for the solution. So you can, for example, click here to see some information of the conference. You can see the number of participants. You can see information about active cameras inside the conference. We can additionally output information for every participant we receive. So there are many useful information, statistics, settings. We can rename a person inside the layout. We can apply different algorithms for noise cancelling and gain control for this participant if we are not hearing quite well, or the sound is noisy or not very loud. So we can adjust this in real time. We can preview what the MCU outputs towards this participant. So a lot of stuff is available here, and we can enable displaying some additional information. So this is very cool. And for example, if I disconnect someone, this is also a new feature. You will see that now we print the very detailed information about the reasons why that participant was disconnected, wasn't able to connect to the conference. For example, if it was unavailable or it declined the call. There are many different reasons. And some other useful information are also displayed here, like, for example, how long that participant was presented inside the conference and what time he connected to the conference, why he was disconnected. For example, in this case, I disconnected that user from the conference. So this is very useful. For example, if you have an important meeting and you have to quickly identify the problem and see why some participants are not able, some participant is not able to join the conference. You don't need to go to the logs. You don't need to open reports. You can immediately see that, for example, the connection was refused because of that. We can display many different reasons. For example, network connectivity, ports are closed, or we have a response like forbidden connection from that endpoint. There are many reasons. So the idea is to use this dashboard to immediately help the operator to troubleshoot most common issues. So you see how powerful it is. So there are many settings. I advise you to install the free version of this product to play around, but the feature we introduced in the new version is that the presentation mode, which only displays a single participant, a single active speaking participant inside the conference. So I will stop the screen sharing. Let's continue with the presentation. Maria?
Yeah, the second mode we would like to introduce is the mode that is called lecture. Similarly to TrueConf server, as you may know, there we have virtual classroom mode that presupposes that the participants see only one person who is the teacher or the lecturer, and the lecturer in his or her turn sees all the participants on his or her screen. And the same thing we have here in TrueConf MCU. The mode is called lecture, and it helps to perform some new conferences scenarios, and we would like to show how it works. So let's start the demonstration, I suppose.
Sure, let's have a demo. Once again, I will share my screen. So let me stop this demo 1 conference and proceed to the demo 2. So we can see here that the conference mode lecture is enabled. That means that the person we will assign with the lecturer privileges, let's call them moderator privileges, will be able to see inside the rendered layout all other participants, but other endpoints inside this conference will be able to see only the lecturer. So very similar to TrueConf server lecture mode. So we have this conference enabled. And before we start, I can show you that we assign this endpoint Deborah with the lecturer privilege. You can see this academic hat highlighted for this user, and the avatar is also highlighted. So we can see that this user will be a lecturer. We can also apply some other additional settings before we start the conference. For example, we can disable microphones. We are not actually disabling microphones in MCU. We're disabling the broadcasting of the audio signal from that particular endpoint to other participants when we start the conference. So that's the many settings. So anyway, we now start the conference with Deborah as lecturer and other users will be as students. And let's wait a little bit before all participants connect to the conference. Now all of them are connected. So let me demonstrate you what does it mean. So first of all, let's open the layout preview output from the TrueConf MCU for the lecturer. So this is what the lecturer sees. We have all other participants rendered inside the layout, so we can see all people here. However, if I open this user layout, he will only be able to see and to hear only the lecturer. So he will not be distracted by other users. So this way we can control automatically the layouts for the students. We don't need to manually assign fixed user inside the layout for every student, so our system do it automatically. So basically all modes, they perform as a preset for the layout management tool. So all modes can be recreated with presets, but using the mode, we can significantly save our time by manually editing the layout for every user. And we can move this privilege, the lecture privilege, around. So I'm just change the lecturer to Margaret, and now all students will see only the Margaret. So this is very simple. We can only assign a single user with lecture privileges. We can use this tool, for example, to move the focus from the lecturer to the student who is giving answer for some question, or it could be a corporate academic institution, for example, and we can move the speech from one lecturer to another lecturer. So this way we can utilize legacy equipment in your rooms and move some presentation around from one source to another source, because I'd like to remind you that in TrueConf MCU, the participant is not exactly SIP and H.323 endpoint. It could be video file, it could be PDF file, it could be RTSP or RTMP video stream, it could be VNC stream, it could be cascaded conference. So it could be actually video source, actually, we can assign with such privilege and move it around. So you will for sure find new scenarios and cases where you can implement this new feature, but this is, again, something new. So two new conferencing modes, lecture mode, presentation mode. We just covered them. Okay, thank you for the attention. Let's move forward. Maria?
Yeah, here we have the next slides about management of our TrueConf Group video conferencing endpoints. And Lev, could you please cover this very important topic?
Absolutely. So this is a very common when our customers, they have multiple rooms. It could be one building with, let's say, 5 to 10 conferencing rooms, or it could be many different buildings in many different regions or cities connected together. And if we try to build the stable environment, of course, every customer is trying to shop from the single shop. That means we recommend to use our own legacy endpoints, which is called TrueConf Group endpoints, in connection with TrueConf MCU, because we offer more integration features when we are speaking about usage of TrueConf Group and TrueConf MCU together compared to other endpoints like Poly or Cisco. Very similar to other vendors. So because we can develop the firmware and software and protocol for our endpoints and our MCU, we can create more features which can be only used between our endpoint and our MCU. And we are seeing that more and more customers are actually using more often our MCU with our endpoints, and that's why we introduced the central management tool, which can be used for now for some basic tasks. Which one? Let me show you. So again, I will stop the presentation and will show my screen. So let's stop this demo conference and proceed to the administration settings panel. So here we have a new section which is called endpoints. So if I open this section, you will be able to see that now we see here whole TrueConf Group, only group, TrueConf Group endpoints from our address book. And because of additional integrations, we can see some more information about every endpoint, not just the IP address, because MCU maintains active connection with every TrueConf Group endpoint. It receives telemetry, some additional information about every endpoint, so we can see the status. If that endpoint is available, that means it is powered on and has network connectivity to the MCU. If it is not connected, we can see when it was connected. We can see the system name not assigned in our address book. It is actually assigned on the side of the endpoint. So this is some local name inside that endpoint. We can access the control panel for the endpoint. So for example, I can open this control panel for this endpoint located somewhere in our network here. So I can open another endpoint located in different location inside our office. So if I'm administrator, I can use this panel to access all the TrueConf Group endpoints inside my network or my VPN network. It could be different locations once again. Here we can also see some additional information about every endpoint. We can just click here. We can see registration time, serial numbers, what is important, the version of the firmware, and this is one of the key points of this new interface, to update and monitor the version of every endpoint, and most importantly, to remotely change the version of the firmware for every endpoint. We can also see the attached contact name from address book for this endpoint. We can change it. For example, let's say TrueConf Group in Amsterdam, or let's say main building, second floor, green conferencing room, or something else. So something important for you, so you will be able to quickly understood where this endpoint is located. Okay, so let's proceed to the most important part. And the most important part is the updates. So here we can upload many different firmwares. It could be the current version, the previous version, which you might use as, let's say, a stable version, for example. It could be some beta version received from our technical support team with some updates and features you requested. And we also have the configuration. Here we can download the configuration from endpoint and upload it here. We can manually edit configuration files. It is a basic text file, config file. You can edit it. And here we just have a library of different firmwares, different configuration files for TrueConf Group endpoints. And from here, we can deploy those firmwares and those configuration files automatically to one or many, this is important, to many endpoints. So let me show you. So this orange button can be used to upload the new firmware configuration file. But the most important button is this one, the green one. So here I can select all endpoints or some specific endpoints I'd like to change the firmware. For example, here I can select the endpoint. I know that this endpoint has already version 1.1, 0.4, 0.225, and if I proceed, it will be updated automatically, and this is the beauty of this solution. So we have our own protocol, communication protocol between MCU, TrueConf MCU, and TrueConf Group, and TrueConf Group will gracefully download, it will interrupt the current conversation, and it will disconnect all other connections. It will download from MCU the new version. It will try to apply, it will try to install the new firmware on itself, and after it will be finished, it will become online again. So there are many different pitfalls in this process. So TrueConf Group, TrueConf MCU will automatically manage this for you. For example, if connectivity between MCU and group will be terminated and not the full version, not the full update will be downloaded, it will not proceed with installation of corrupted not fully downloaded installation file for with the new firmware. So we take care of this. So when you click update here, don't worry. We will verify the consistency of every file, and we will, in the background, apply the update for the endpoint. You can use this, for example, to upload the new version, or you can upload the previous version. However, once again, please pay attention that the active conferences and calls will be terminated on the endpoint, so if you proceed. And what is important, we can do this for many endpoints. For example, overnightly, let's say today, right now is a midnight, and I'd like to update 100 of endpoints I have in many different locations. So I just click here, and I can simultaneously update the firmware for the new version of many different group endpoints. So I don't need to go for the control panel of every endpoint or to insert flash drives with updates. I can do it remotely, and this is the beauty of this new solution. And the same could be applied for the configurations. For example, you have one location with one set of settings for network settings, for example, for endpoints in one city. You can create a different configuration with different network settings, for example, or bandwidth regulation for another location. For example, you might have limited bandwidth between one location to another location, and for that you can create different configuration settings for endpoint. For example, the maximum bit rate would be limited for that set of endpoints, and you can apply different configuration settings to the one or multiple endpoints, not firmware, but the setting. So this is very, very flexible solution. So please refer for documentation for more details. But once again, it helps large customers manage large numbers of TrueConf Group endpoints they have, and the natural way to introduce the interface for TrueConf Group endpoints management was to add that to TrueConf MCU, because MCU and Group are created together because they use both SIP and H.323 protocols. So now you can find this endpoints management interface here in TrueConf MCU side. Okay, that's enough for the demo. Please, Maria, please go on.
Yeah, let's continue with the demonstration. We would like to cover another usage of voice activity detection mechanism in our update, and it is active speaker highlighting. Right now, it is possible to highlight active speaker with the orange frame, and the operator can enable this feature when scheduling the conference, when planning the meeting. And it is now much more convenient not only to hear who is speaking at the moment, but also to see who is the active speaker.
I don't have demo for that, but TrueConf MCU have a lot of different settings for customization of the conference. So for example, if we go back to the conference we had initially, so let me find it and start it once again. So here we have different visualization changes. We have different skins. For example, we can change, this is not a new feature, just using the chance to remind you about those features. So we can highlight the active speaker. This is the new feature, but however, we also have the ability to change the background. We have the ability to separate one video window from another video window with some spacing, like here. So we will have some spacing between video windows. We can change how the names and titles are displayed inside the layout. So there are many settings you can play around. So we can move those placeholders for the names of the participants inside the layout. We can decide how they will be highlighted, what background color or image will be used. And there are also some global settings available inside the control panel of our server, which will be applied globally to all conferences. So we can apply visual customizations, not just for every conference, but they can also be applied for specific conference. For example, if you have some important meeting, you can choose some basic setting. But if you have some other settings, for example, which will be output for television, you can add some additional branding to the background or to the visual style of the conference. So there are many settings for customizations available. So don't forget to use them here. You can access them in real time or globally. Maria, please go on.
Yeah, we have covered style settings, so you can change the background and you can adjust spacing globally for all video meeting that you have and locally for some specific video conference. And Lev has already showed it. Yeah, and now we have automatic speaker focus. Could you please cover it, Lev?
Sure.
Oh,
so
sorry, before we proceed, yeah, we have a question.
Maria, unfortunately not. We are not allowed at the moment to change the color of the highlighted frame. It is not possible to change the width and the color of this frame. It will be orange. However, if you would like to have this feature, please send us a message in our community in WhatsApp, and we will increase the count of this request. And we'll use it next time when we will prepare the new update. So the feedback you tell us, we used to save in our this is called backlog. So all the features we receive and bug fixes and requests from technical support are all placed in the backlog. And when we decide which features to introduce into the new version, of course, for sure, we take the most popular requests from our backlog. Anyway, Rizwan, thank you for the question. It is possible to cascade TrueConf MCU conference into any other system which supports SIP and H.323. For Zoom, it is very easy to do if your Zoom subscription have SIP connectivity, which is paid separately. It can be done. So basically, you can call TrueConf conference, or we can call inside TrueConf MCU conference Zoom session. No problem at all. But with Microsoft Teams, you need a CVI, which is Cloud Video Interoperability Subscription, CVI subscription, which is available from Poly, Cisco, Pexip, and some other vendors. So technically it can be done, but only one way, just one way. From Microsoft Teams conference, you will need to dial out the SIP address of TrueConf MCU session to cascade it inside the Microsoft call. It can be done, but believe me, it's much more convenient to use TrueConf Server for that, because TrueConf Server is a very scalable solution, very similar to Microsoft Teams, also on-premise, not cloud-based, which allows you to connect desktops, mobiles, web browsers. So basically, what we recommend to do is cascade conference with legacy endpoints on TrueConf MCU side with the TrueConf server, which also has a free version for 50 users in the single conference. And MCU will handle SIP endpoints, and TrueConf server will handle PC-based software endpoints. Edward, yes, you can upload any image to use as the background for the background of the layouts. Rizwan, yes, the recording will be available, of course, like before. We provide all the recordings.
Yeah, I would like to remind all to subscribe to our social networks, because we are very active there, and also join us in our communities in Telegram and WhatsApp. Feel free to ask your questions there too.
So I'd like to remind one more thing. Rizwan asked a good question. So we have two video conferencing infrastructure products. TrueConf Server for new architecture, new protocol, very scalable for desktops, for mobiles, for browsers, which handles thousands of conferences with hundreds of participants in each, up to 1,500 participants per conference, for software endpoints, for very similar to Microsoft Teams. And we have MCU, which is designed to use with legacy equipment, Cisco, Poly, Sony, Avaya, Red Vision, Thunberg, whatever endpoints you already have in your network. So this is a very different solutions. They actually they benefit to each other. They use different protocols. MCU is mixing streams. TrueConf Server is not mixing streams because it is based on SVC technology. So they're very different, but they can be used together. And for example, we can use it to create large webinars using our room equipment, legacy equipment, seat-based equipment, for example. Another question from Rizwan is, for telephony, integration with the session border control is possible? Of course it is possible. Any session border controller which support SIP or H.323 protocol can be used alongside with TrueConf MCU. Actually, it performs on a different transport level. So MCU will not notice that actually. The SIP connectivity through border controller is usually transparent for MCU. So if you have one in the network, it will work without any issues with our MCU product. We can actually connect remote participants through NAT, through session border controller. So it depends on your network configuration. So many different settings available. Okay, let's proceed with the third demo. I have another conference. I will start it. So now we have a conference in a general mode. And if we check the general layout for this conference, we can apply settings which will automatically rotate participants who are not visible in the layout and change them, not based on the microphone activity. So we're not assigning the slot in the layout and this placeholder in the layout with voice activity. We just enable the settings for rotation, and participants who are not presented in the layout will be changed automatically, no matter what, do they have activity or not inside the layout. In the global settings of the server, we have the timeout. So rotation timeout, so we can enter the number of seconds in which usually it could be 5 or 10 seconds. So for demonstration purposes, we set 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds, the visible participants inside the conference will be rotated. So all participants of the conference will be visible during the conference. So let's have a look. So every 3 seconds, we can see that people are updated inside the layout. So it's better to set 10 or 15 seconds. 3 seconds was set for demonstration purposes. So for large conference, which is usually cascaded into another conference, this way we can save resources of the CPU of the MCU server, and we can make sure that everybody will be visible time to time. So this is a new feature. So let's move forward.
We have another question from Brisbane. Can we answer it now, Lev?
Mm-hmm.
So is it possible to use telephony for the branches banking sort?
Can we use TrueConf MCU as a video call center solution? It can be used if endpoints you are going to connect from remote locations to your call center is SIP-based devices. For example, it could be SIP video phones, so you can use it as a video call center. For example, someone in your remote branch location can pick up the SIP phone, and we can create a specific rules that the endpoint, the video phone will call a specific conference. It can be done over SIP protocol. So if your remote locations, remote endpoints are SIP-based, TrueConf MCU would be a right choice for such scenario, for such usage. If you'd like to use browser-based or mobile application or SDKs or desktop applications, TrueConf server would be a right choice. It is also supporting video banking scenarios. Yes, you can download the product from our website. The free version for 100 connections is available globally for many years. So just open TrueConf.com and download it for Debian. That's very easy to do. Okay,
let's continue with our presentation.
Yes, Maria, yep. Please go on.
And here we have another feature we introduce. Now it is possible to end the conference automatically, so you don't need to click on the specific button. The conference will be ended by itself if some of the rules set. So if no one joined the conference within the some specific period of time, the conference will be automatically ended. If all participants are disconnected and no one connects to the conference again within the certain interval, also the conference can be ended automatically. And also if only one participant present in the conference within some period of time, the conference can be automatically ended. So these all rules are set when you schedule the conference.
Thank you, Maria. Very useful settings. In large organizations, it happens every day. When someone forgot to exit the conference, when someone forgot to join the conference, and the conference session is being recorded, for example, with empty screen, a content screen, or some muted participants who left inside the conference. So these new scenarios, these three strategies can be used to terminate leftover useless sessions, and you can decide the criteria for termination for these three strategies. I wish we could add similar behavior for TrueConf server because I believe it could be very useful for TrueConf server as well, because there usually customers have more conferences, more users. Rizvan, for your last question, me and Maria, we are connected to a different session. We are connected using TrueConf server to the conference using our native client applications for Windows. From Maria's side, I'm using Mac. I'm connected using Mac native application of TrueConf, but we're using TrueConf server for webinars. Because TrueConf server is the right solution for desktop application, web application, mobile application for webinars. We're not using legacy equipment. I'm using my laptop, not anything else. This is how we have to do conferences today. So MCU is only for those who have a lot of legacy equipment. If you don't have a lot of legacy equipment, please pay attention to another free product we have, which is TrueConf server, which is actually very powerful and have more features, but it is like a little bit different. It is for software endpoints, not for hardware endpoints. Okay, let's proceed. I don't think we have much time, Maria. Let's hurry up a little bit.
Yeah, of course, we should hurry up. And here are another feature. So now when you apply SMTP server, you can send mail conference invitations to the participant who have their email address specified in their profile. So now you can click on the specific button with the envelope, and the conference invitation will be sent to the email address of your specific person.
I will give a short demonstration. So in our administration settings, network settings, we have SMTP settings. So if you enter here the login and password for your SMTP server, TrueConf MCU will automatically send invitation for calendar invitation in VCAL format, typical email invitation format, for every participant invited to the conference with email address specified in their profile. For example, if we go for some profile, well, I don't have many profiles here with email specified, but anyway, so let's do it this way. So for example, if we would invite this user, Michael, to the conference, and his email will be specified in his profile, and we have in the settings of MCU SMTP enabled, connection enabled, the server will automatically send the invitation. This is the new feature. We didn't have it before. That's quite simple. Okay. Maria will cover this. So this is a very simple thing. As I told you before, it is possible to render inside the layout, not just video participants. It's possible to render VNC desktop stream. It is possible to render YouTube video session or video stream from IP camera, because we fully support RTSP and RTMP protocols. But it is also possible to use the content, typical content files as the source of the video or source of the content. It could be a video file, audio file, images, PDF file. And now it is possible to upload such files inside the conference layout or content stream of the conference in advance. So let me show you the demo number 4. So we go to the conferences, and we have demo number 4. Please pay attention that for this demo, in addition to the invited endpoints over C protocol, we uploaded the video file, MP4 file, and we can apply specific settings just for the video file. For example, we can enable or disable automatic playback of this video file inside the layout. We can change it, for example, for PDF file, but let's play with this conference. First, conference is starting. Let's wait a little bit. Yes, conference has started. We have all 4 endpoints connected to the conference, and we have another endpoint connected to the conference, but it is not a real endpoint, it's just a video file. So if I go to any user, you will see inside his layout that we are having this video file played back. So I can put a crown for the source. Should make it larger in the layout. So now you can see that this video file is displayed inside the layout, and I can disconnect this video file from the conference. And in real time, I can add to this conference other video sources. It could be, for example, PDF file, for example, slide deck from this presentation. Let's wait a little bit. So now I have another video source inside the conference, which is PDF for this conference. Let me show you. This is how it looks like. This is the PDF with the presentation of this webinar. And actually, what is very interesting, we can use the same controls for regular participants above applied to these content sources. For example, I can change these PTZ controls to change slides, which is very cool. I can even zoom in inside the PDF file, and all endpoints will follow this. And inside the layout of the conference, you will be able to see those presentations. So that makes possible for operator, for the administrator of the conference, to show content not from HDMI cable, not through some wireless content system like Barco ClickShare. We can just upload the PDF files or video files inside the control panel of TrueConf MCU and show them to the participants. This is very, very convenient. And what is really beautiful, what we can do, we can upload those content to the video layout, or we can send them to the second stream. For example, I will send this video file to the content stream. As you might know, in legacy video conferencing systems, we have the video stream and the content stream. So every endpoint is capable to receive and play back the video conference with mixed participants and the content, which is usually used for laptop demonstrations. So we can ask TrueConf MCU to send this video participant, this new source, to the content stream. So now we are sending this video file to the content stream. This is a very beautiful solution because in the layout, it is empty. We have only speaking participants with active speaker displayed in the main window. But now that endpoint also receive from the MCU the content stream, which is based on the video file I sent to the second content stream from the MCU. You see how beautiful this solution. So we can mix SIP devices, H.323 devices, streaming, IP cameras, PDF files, PowerPoint files, video files, media files inside the video layout, inside the content layout to every endpoint connected to TrueConf MCU. This is a really very, very powerful solution which can significantly improve the quality of conference management for legacy equipment. You will never be able to find anything similar across all other solutions available in the market. This is a really, really beautiful solution for that. Okay, so let's move forward with our presentation. Maria?
So now you can choose the maximum frame rate because before we had a fixed frame rate, it was 60 frames per second, and now you can reduce the load on your video conferencing server by reducing the maximum frame rate to 30 frames per second.
Yeah, this is just a cap applied to globally on the server for every conference. So we are basically telling the server not to exceed this limit, and this way we can also save the resources on the server. For example, if the capabilities of your virtual machine is very close to the limit, so the natural thing to do is to reduce the frame rate for all participants. But don't worry, TrueConf MCU will automatically do the same. So if TrueConf MCU is very close to its limits in terms of performance, so it will automatically decrease the quality of rendered layouts, the mixed layout resolution, and also the frame rate. But you can apply this globally, for example, if you don't need more. For example, if you don't have 60 frames per second enabled endpoints in your network, so you don't need to allow for the MCU to scale for that for so high frame rate.
Yeah, tell us please about lost packet recovery mechanism that we supported in this update.
Yes, that's an important thing because TrueConf MCU usually utilize UDP protocol, and UDP datagrams, UDP network packets can be lost. They are not requested, not re-requested, not retransferred, like compared to TCP packets. That means some information between the endpoint and MCU, which is transferred through many different network devices like routers, NITs and firewalls, some packets can be lost or they can be abandoned because of the high load of the network equipment. There are many reasons for that. The network stuff is quite complicated. But anyway, so what we did, we decided to create our own algorithm, our own technology for recovery of lost UDP packets. It is kind of forward error correction, FEC algorithms, and we applied our own implementation of this FEC algorithm to our solutions, TrueConf MCU, TrueConf Server, and TrueConf Group hardware endpoint. So now between those systems, if we have a cascade between TrueConf Server and TrueConf MCU, if we have cascade between TrueConf MCU and TrueConf MCU and other MCU, or we have TrueConf Group connected to TrueConf MCU or TrueConf Server, there are many different directions. This FFC algorithm can be applied, which help us to recover up to 10% loss of the UDP packets between the endpoint and the server, or endpoint and MCU. This is very cool. The problem with such algorithms from other vendors is that they're not compatible to each other. So Polycom's FEC will not work nicely with Huawei MCUs, for example. And the same is applied for our solution because it is a proprietary technology. We can guarantee that it will work only between our own servers and our own endpoints. But it will increase the quality of the conference across unstable channels. It will decrease the number of re-requested keyframes. It will decrease the chances that you will see artifacts inside the video, because UDP video is sometimes, when we don't have good channel, can be fragmented. It could be not very high quality because of the lost packages. Of course, MCU will try to adjust if it sees that a lot of information, a lot of data packets are not delivered. It will decrease the quality. It will decrease the bit rate for this particular direction. But with FEC, we can squeeze the maximum from available channel, and we can minimize the number of re-requests, resends of the keyframes inside the conference. That's applied automatically. You don't need to do anything to make this work. It just, from this update, it will be available for all our endpoints and servers. Let's answer the last question. So, Rizwan, you have so many wonderful questions. So thank you for joining us today. So, are TrueConf services available in Azure Cloud? We have distros, the installers for Windows Server or Linux machines. So you can run our software in Azure Cloud, Google Computing Cloud, Hetzner, Amazon, whatever. It could be your own server. It could be a corporate server. If you can find their dedicated machine or virtual machine with Windows or Debian, that's enough. So you can use it anywhere. Of course, you can deploy the solution inside the cloud infrastructure and access from your corporate network to the cloud. It is not very secure because your server will be located somewhere in the cloud. But in some cases, we even recommend to do this. For example, instead of deploying the second server in DMZ, we can recommend you to install the second server in the cloud to connect users from web users, guest users from remote locations. But the local server will be located inside the network. So there are different approaches depending on the requirements of your cybersecurity team. But of course, it is possible to deploy our infrastructure solutions inside the cloud. But we do not offer cloud services. We offer the software. We offer the distros, distributions of our software. Okay. Another technical update is about automatic recovery of the conferences. So if MCU will register that the operation of the server was terminated unexpectedly, it will try to recover both the conferences going on that server and endpoints disconnected from the server, because the emergency could happen on the server side or on endpoint side. It could be network challenges, it could be physical disconnection of the endpoint, it could be some hardware challenges on the endpoint side. It doesn't matter. Once the endpoint will be available again, once it becomes online, the server will try to reconnect it, and the conference was disconnected, the server will start to restart the conference. So, for example, if your data center would have the blackout, the electricity will not be available, sometimes in just a second, but all other IT systems could stop. So this is not the case with TrueConf MCU anymore. It will automatically restart and recreate previously active conferences, not just scheduled conferences, but any active conference will be automatically restored. And once the electricity are back, once the network connectivity are back, the conference will be started on the MCU, and MCU will call back all previous participants to restore the conference. So your users, in case of emergency, they will see some interruption. Of course, it could take up to a couple of minutes, depending on your network configuration and hardware configuration. But the conferencing rooms participating in this conference will automatically receive calls to join back the conference. This is important because usually people inside the conferencing rooms, they are not able to call back to the conference. They just don't know how to use remote control. They just don't know how to use touch control. It is very difficult for regular user inside the conferencing room to call back to the previous conference. So that's why it is important to call back from MCU those rooms and connect them back to the conference. So now it is also available. Very, very nice feature. Maria?
When dealing with some data transfer between some virtual machines that you have, it is now much more convenient to perform this action because we improved the operation of our TrueConf MCU in the hypervisor. So you can now seamlessly transfer all your data between several virtual machines.
Basically, it's also helps to properly utilize their virtual resources. Virtual machine configuration can be changed quite often. For example, we can, for important meetings, we can assign more cores for the virtual machine. And now TrueConf MCU will automatically recalculate its capabilities because it will limit itself or quite reverse, it will not limit itself if we enabled more cores or sockets or whatever, more RAM for the virtual machine. So that's very important. So you don't need to manually calibrate the solution after the change of the virtual machine configuration. And the solution will automatically recalibrate itself to the new capabilities of the new parameters of the virtual machine. That's important. And the last slide.
Yeah, finally we have the last slide of our presentation. I hope it was interesting for you. And we talked about that before. Lev showed you during the demo that we have some lines, some specific information about reason why this or that user was disconnected from the conference. So the connection may be lost, or he or she may be disconnected by themselves or by the moderator of the conference. The participants can be busy or moved to another conference, or they can decline the call of the conference.
Very useful feature, Maria. Thank you for telling us about it. So that's it. That's the new release of TrueConf MCU 2.1. And I'd like to remind you that this product is free to use. We have the free version for 100 connections, so you can download it from our website. It is a totally on-prem solution. You just need to download it. Please pay attention that TrueConf MCU is only available for Linux infrastructure, while TrueConf Server is available for both Linux and Windows infrastructure. If you have any feedback, please send us a message in our WhatsApp community. Just search for TrueConf in WhatsApp, or add our phone number to your contact list, and you will be able to get in touch with us through the WhatsApp as well. We have a live chat on our website. Feel free to ask any questions and send your ideas. The recording of this webinar will be available shortly. And thank you for your time. Be safe and have a nice day, everybody. Maria, it was a pleasure to have a webinar together with you. Thank you for your time. And
thank you, Lev, for this interesting conversation. I hope it was helpful for our users, and stay tuned with our updates.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.